Today, we are digging deep, and I mean that literally, to uncover a hidden partnership that fuels the strongest, most resilient trees in the entire world. Honestly, it's a subterranean revolution that is about to completely change how you think about your garden forever. So let's get into it.
You know, for decades, we've all been taught that a tree is on its own, right? That it's this solitary plant just fighting for its share of nutrients. But as this quote points out, that whole idea, it's a myth. Turns out, trees were never meant to be lonely.
So, okay, if they're not these isolated individuals, then what's their secret? Who or, what are they actually working with? This, my friends, is where things get really, really fascinating.
Well, the old way of thinking basically treated soil like it was just a sterile container. We just pour in these chemical fertilizers, and in a way, we were putting our trees on a kind of artificial life support. But this just creates these fragile, dependent plants that are always waiting for their next fix from us. It's an expensive system, and it's totally unstable. The real secret is this. There is a vast, invisible network right under our feet. You can think of it like a biological internet that connects plants and completely transforms the soil they live in. And no, this is not science fiction. It's the actual foundation of a healthy ecosystem.
The scientific name for this amazing partnership is mycorrhiza. It might sound complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. It comes from the Greek words mycos for fungus and rhiza for root. So what does that really mean? It means the fungus literally becomes a part of the tree, a living, breathing extension of its own root system.
Now, not all of these fungi are the same. For us, for fruit growers, the hero of our story is what's called arbuscular mycorrhizae. See, unlike the kind of fungi that create mushrooms up on the surface, these guys live inside the tree's root cells. They form this direct, intimate connection. And that's the one we're going to focus on today.
So, how does this partnership actually work? Well, it's not really about friendship. It's more like a brilliant business deal. It's a pure and incredibly powerful transaction where both parties get exactly what they need to thrive.
So here's the tree's side of the bargain. Through photosynthesis, it creates sugar, right? It's energy. And it is willing to invest heavily in its partner. We're talking as much as 30% of its total sugar production gets sent right down to the fungus. I mean, that is a huge investment. So what does it get in return?
This is what it gets. The fungus, which is a master miner, provides the tree with up to 80% of all the phosphorus it needs. And phosphorus is an absolutely critical nutrient that's just notoriously hard for roots to get to on their own. This partnership completely unlocks it.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the genius of the whole system. I mean, why would you do the hard work yourself when you can hire an expert who's literally 100 times better at the job? The tree just focuses on making sugar, and the fungus handles all the mining. It is perfect efficiency.
But this network is so much more than just a delivery service for one mineral. It has other incredible benefits, superpowers really, that are just as important, if not more so.
This one's called the extension effect. The tiny fungal threads, they're called hyphae, are way, way thinner than a root hair. So they can wiggle into these microscopic pores in the soil that roots could never reach. This increases the tree's effective root surface area by up to 100 times. It's like the difference between a tiny corner store and a massive supermarket.
And check this out. This is how the network makes trees incredibly resilient to drought. First, as you can see, the fungal network can tap into water that's locked away in tiny pores that the roots can't get to. They also produce this special carbon-rich glue called glomalin that actually helps the soil hold on to more water. And this last one is just amazing. They can send chemical warnings through the network to other trees, telling them to start conserving water before a drought even hits. It's a communication network.
So this all sounds pretty amazing, right? But the big question is, how do you actually get this network started in your own garden or orchard? Let's get practical and look at how you can become a network administrator for your own trees.
The whole key is to get the fungal spores in direct contact with the roots. So as you can see here, if you're starting with seeds, you can just dust them with an inoculate powder. For new trees, you can dip the bare roots in a kind of slurry before you plant them. And for trees that are already established, you can actually drill holes around the drip line and add the inoculant there. That brings the fungus right to the feeder roots.
Okay, so once you've established this amazing network, you have to protect it. And there are a couple of very, very common gardening practices that can completely destroy this symbiotic relationship.
First up, high phosphorus chemical fertilizers. When you feed the tree all that phosphorus directly, it basically says, hey, I don't need my fungal partner anymore, and it cuts off the sugar supply, starving the fungus to death. Second, tilling the soil.
This is like setting off a giant earthquake that physically tears that delicate web to absolute shreds. So what's the best way to protect your investment? It's really simple. Mulch. A nice, thick layer of wood chips or straw acts like a shield. It protects the network from the sun's heat and harsh UV rays, and it keeps the soil moist, basically creating the absolute perfect environment for your fungal partners to thrive.
But at the end of the day, does all of this actually work? Let's look at the data, because the results are what truly matters. And let me tell you, the numbers are pretty staggering.
I mean, just look at this. In controlled studies, inoculated fruit trees showed up to 40% more total growth in just the first 2 years compared to their uninoculated neighbors. That's not a small difference. That is what you call extreme growth, and it's powered by this incredible underground partnership.
So I think the big takeaway from all of this is a complete shift in how we think. The solution isn't to just constantly add more inputs, more stuff. It's to build a better system. By farming the fungus, not just the tree, you create a resilient, self-sustaining powerhouse. You're not just a gardener anymore, you're the manager of an entire underground ecosystem.